This is a video shout out to initials KJMT. You know who you are. I've been getting a little bit aggravated that so many things have come to my mind after I was able to come successfully off of so many pills that I had been on for a variety of reasons. Things that did not occur to me back in 1995 because of the medicines. And maybe that is part of like what people have been saying, the attempt to keep people dumbed down. In my case, I believe it may have worked. Anyway, I have recovered that part of my mind, and in doing so, I have plenty of questions, and I would like answers. KJT, was it M for a maiden name? KJMT. You should explain yourself. Your actions don't match up with what you're calling facts. Facts that put a man in prison for a lot of years. Now, the state didn't require you to explain anything, but we all know now that the state has and has had a terrible agenda toward foster children, and they get paid. They get bonuses for what they do, and allow me to produce proof of that. Alright, while you don't specifically fit the category of a snatched child, you do fit in with the rest of some of this.
With evil intentions. Child snatching has become a vicious political weapon, and government child snatchers are violating families all across this nation. Believe it or not, the budget of many of these agencies is determined by how many cases they make. The more kids they snatch, the more money they get. Gee, what could possibly go wrong there? Now, the liberal left threw out some ridiculous statistics to try to win people over their side. For instance, in there, I was...
Alright, I didn't think right now until the very last minute about a possible copyright thing, but this man has got his groove on, as far as I'm concerned. This Wild Bill, pardon me, I forget his name now, about all these things he speaks of in this video, and you can see here the title of the video in case you want to see it on this page here. But the point remains, you haven't explained, and every time I try to work through it, for some reason or another, I'm caused to stop. Alright, the way I see it, you had your chance, and then some. You told your story, you got it on a victim report. I don't think you're a victim, but that's neither here nor there right now. You did the deposition, and yes, I got a hold of it, and I didn't even try. It was offered to me. I received a call from the state defender's office, and the woman told me if I wanted it to come and get it, so I went and got the boxes of files. That's how I got it. I did not have to go out of my way one bit as far as looking for them or trying to get them. And not only there, you had your go around with a recovery hospital that you were in and out of in 30 days. Which brings me to another serious question. Why would it take a so-called rapist 30 years for correction, while as someone like yourself could get through correction, aka treatment, in only 30 days? Is this some kind of getting even tactic about like the difference in cost between men's dry cleaning a shirt and women's dry cleaning a shirt being more expensive? Because that's what it's seeming like. It's seeming very much like that, a tactic. 30 years versus 30 days, and because you didn't even try to tell anyone, because here's the next big thing. Instead of making complaints against the so-called rapist, you were busy making them against me. I don't know what's up with that, but I really would like to know. I bet that's interesting to know. Instead of when you got in the vehicle with your mother to go to visitations monthly, which you called monthly abuse, to say, Mom, Mom, there's a crazy rapist. His name is Dad. He lives at my house. And it happens 2 or 3 times a day. It's, Mom, Mom, Redhead is at it again. I really can't stand this woman. She's this, she's that, she's the other thing. Why is there no concern or alarm shown about the so-called crazy rapist? I want to know. I think I have a right to know. In my eyes, K, J, then M, now T, you've committed fraud. You've frauded the court. You've frauded any agency that over the past years, since 95, have had anything to do with you, helping you or teaching you or correcting you or funding you or anything. Those are all fraud. And I would love to bring this to the attention of people who know how to deal with someone such as that. Because it's always going to go back to, then why didn't she turn this person in? She was able to turn in stepmom. She wasn't chained to her seat. She wasn't locked away in a closet. She wasn't kept from a phone. She wasn't kept from out of public places with regular average people. She went to church. She even went to therapy, for Pete's sake. My mouth, for those moments prior to this next sentence, was just hanging open because it's so dumbfounded. The shock value of the stupidity of this whole thing and everyone who had anything to do with it is so huge, my mouth just hangs open. How could anyone be so seriously stupid to believe that a person is capable of making a report against someone in one instance, but not in the very next one, aka, which is also known as the ability to turn in stepmother, but not the ability to turn in father. That's what confuses me. That's a hang-up. This little device has given me 8+ hours to record. This little tool I'm using. Who in their right mind can't grasp the difference between being unable to make reports or kept dumbed down and the ability to make reports and successfully doing so? Who? I believe it would be these money grabbers that this man here in this video was referring to. The money that whoever state or federal monies were given to the foster family for her to live on and supposedly thrive on. For you, Miss KJMT, without seeming like some sort of monster myself, with my curiosity piqued like it is, how would you like it to come off of so much medication for other things, other traumas, real life traumas, not imagined ones, not make-believe ones, not manufactured ones, and then being hit with all these things from a file that I wasn't probably even supposed to have, except for the powers that be saw fit to give me a call to allow me to have them. The State Defender's Office on Buttonwood in Columbia, Missouri. And what kind of so-called rapist would actually take his so-called victim to therapy while in the meantime supposedly raping someone 2 to 3 times a day, amounting to this huge, grandiose amount of rapes that I'll always believe was just a number grabbed out of the air 2,100 times. Who? We'd want to talk to those people to see if that's real or not. I don't think that's real. Someone takes their kid to therapy, goes and sits in their van or wherever, reads the newspaper, reads a comic book for all I know, while the person that they're supposedly abusive to can go on into therapy and wreck that off for them? Hello? Because there was another opportunity right there for little Miss KJMT to squeal or blow the whistle or tell or report, but that didn't happen. How did that not happen? Why is it that all those visits to the commune to be with the mother didn't produce any sort of reports against this so-called rapist? He should be the star of the show, don't you think? Not this AKA code name Nicha. Do you have any idea, AKA code name Nicha, how many people were physically attracted to me? Because I think that's part of what it was. My rejection of you, just like was stated in that file, how your mother's ex-husband, that she had divorced after 3 weeks or 3 months, because he rejected you, and I rejected you in that way. And although he pushed you away or pushed you off of him, depending on your mother's wording of that, I didn't have to push you, but you did push me on the stairs that night right before your session started in Columbia, Missouri for exit therapy. Remember a couple minutes ago me describing how strange that is? That there must be millions of guys who are so-called rapists who take their victims to counseling. No? Well, why not? Why shouldn't they do that? Why shouldn't they do it like John Myers? Because we were all pretty sure he was doing all the right things. But you've got it making him look like he was doing all the wrong things. He was fixing up his house. He had a list of things to do just like you and your brother did. He was taking me to the store whenever I wanted to go, which was quite often, sometimes twice a week, clear up to the base and back. But still, there's no plea for help. That makes it fraud. That makes it failure to report. It's a crime to not report a crime. If you were in peril, which I know you weren't, that peril would have been a report, at least to your mother, if not to someone at 911 on the phone, or the short distance it was to walk to either the police station here or the sheriff's department here to report in person, because we were gone good lengths of time, sometimes as much as 4 or so hours. Not to mention when we made the couple of trips up to the city, to St. Louis and back. Those were 3 hours one way each time. We went twice. That's 6 hours. We were there a little while and came back. That's another 6 or maybe 7, 8 hours. But still, there's no report or plea for help or call to 911 or anything to say, look, I've got a crazy rapist. He's going to be back pretty soon. Can someone come over here and help me? Maddening. And yes, I rejected you in that way. I believe that's part of the problem with you. It's a part of your problem. It's not my problem. It's only my problem because you ruined our life. Your life should be ruined. So maybe if you really don't see, as clearly as I think you don't see, then someone should ruin your life so that you can damn well see and know what the hell that feels like. And no, I don't usually cuss, but I am upset. Do you understand that? KJMT, aka Codename Nicha, so named at the commune. And I do still wonder also what that could be about, except for I do have a clue about that. Yes, I've done my research. That's about brainwashing. And for some reason, Family Services decided to throw that up to us, saying that that's what happened at our house. When I found proof by the International Cultic Studies Association that says that commune up there in Davis City, Iowa, was a mind control cult to the fullest. So it doesn't matter that you all made your uncle and aunt's book not go to publisher on a technicality that it was a commune, an intentional community, and not a cult, because it is a cult. So that's another fraud. A fraud by the group to the court, swearing up and down it was a commune, an intentional community, not a cult, when an international cultic studies group says it's a cult, and a mind control one, and a bad one. I've got so much on these people, you would not even believe it. I've been collecting info like you would not believe. Every time I see a cult story, it goes in my little folder on my notes. It goes where everyone can see it. But let's get back to you, Miss Star of the show, aka Codename Nicha. You were just dying to be the star because everybody knows that John's previous stepdaughter was a star down at the lake, ran the lake circuit with them, him as her electrician and other people, big name people in show business at the lake, electrician for a number of years when he was with the LDS church before he converted to Baptist. So maybe somehow you did hear about Little Miss Robin, and there's just no way to top that one. That's just another really big, huge, crazy, I don't know what. But the story goes like this. Her mom and her got mad at John. And John decided that it was going to end his marriage. So he decided to go get therapy, marital counseling, to try to save his marriage. For what it was, maybe he already figured 2 times of this is enough. I need to get this straightened out and try to just save it. Well, instead, and he told me this, and before I got the file, I didn't have any proof, but then proof came to me, as I told you, through the public defender's office when I got the call to get the boxes of files. And the therapist, the shrink, whatever you want to call her, decided to disclose that she had done the process called flooding on John Myers. And it was a big plot, and they finally admitted it because Robin was dating the judge's son, because they all went to the same church together. And the judge's son, or the girl, disclosed what had happened to the judge's son, who in turn, thank goodness, told his dad. And then John was released. And I tried to get some paperwork once, but they couldn't find anything on him. Not one thing. Which brings us to him being sentenced as a repeat offender when there's no prior on him. Which I also got validated with my dad, because when I got the file, the main letter that I brought over here, it just had me so upset that I wanted my mom to see it with her own eyes. Because my mother at one point also had defended John, and sporadically throughout, that she had never seen horseplay, or Karen had done this or that to my dad. And basically, it was her that initiated these things with the guys, and they would end up having to reject her, and even further, to make their statement more clear, push her away. So you see, throughout all this, even though you're trying to name someone as having a perversion toward you, it turns back around onto you because of that wonderful letter that your mother was so kind to divulge. And there's just so many questions. It's so great. I probably should have, before I got on here with this, and the times before that I got on here with this, written down my questions, or at least outline to highlight what I was going to do in the order, because I do get kind of twisted in it. I backstep in it. Excuse me. No screaming out to social workers. Please, social workers, don't make me get back on that bus and go home to the crazy rapist, which I covered before. But I want to make sure that whoever knows this person and knows who I'm talking about will get this video link to her and see to it that she watches it. And I just want it in her head that we know better than what her story came out as. Whether she had help or not, because she did state, you did state, Karen, and I tried to talk to you, but I end up having kind of a broader view with knowing that I'll put this on my Facebook and I'll share it on Google Plus and blah blah blah. So it turns into another mess. But why not plead with them not to make you go back? Why not any of the knives? You were given the chore of doing dishes, which wasn't really that big of a deal if you ask me. Rinse them off, set them in the dishwasher, and wait for somebody to hook it up and turn it on. Set the controls and turn it on. Because it was a portable, not portable. Well, yeah, it was portable with the wheels, but that's not the word that I wanted. It had to be hooked. It wasn't just turn it on. It wasn't built in. But there's knives. We ate meat all the time. There's knives. Steak knives. Butcher knives. Scissors. For God's sake, whatever tools in the basement. But no so-called rapist with blood gushing out of him with an eyeball hanging out the side of his head. Why? Because it was all about me, like those reports about me should indicate. I was the star of that one, for some crazy reason. And maybe I was kind of attitudinal. I had my medicine. I'd been through a lot. I've been through actual traumas. And then here comes some slack jaw. Can't even answer a straight question. Yeah, I'm mad. I'm damn mad. No one struck you, KJMT. No one struck you. No one restrained you. You got the run of the house, basically, before your brother left, to watch satellite TV, to use the phone, to get in the icebox, to get in the freezer, to get in the cabinets. But still no report on no crazy rapist. How do you sleep? Oh, I put someone in prison on a fraud claim and I just sleep fine. Thank you very much for asking. Is that what you tell yourself? Well, I guess this is long enough now. It's over half an hour. Someone please, a family or friends or co-workers or neighbors, in-laws, exes, whoever, if you know this KJMT person, and keep in mind M was the maiden name, first letter of the maiden name, please make sure she gets this and watch it with her. Maybe you can get some answers. Maybe you can comment this. I'm dying to know.